Hello friends, Cute Fuzzy Weasel here to talk to you about the most depressing audiobook that you totally need to listen to. I'm not gonna do the entire review in that accent though. I mean, I could. I think it's a good accent, but hey, you know what? Let me know in comments below if this is good accent for me. I feel like I'm about to go ask for the nuclear vessels. Anyway, today we're gonna be talking about the audiobook Roadside Picnic. Now, hang on, don't click away from the video. This is not an audiobook about a couple of old women having a tea party inside of I don't know. A roadside picnic sounds like they're gonna have it inside of a BMW, but it's not about tea at all. In fact, honestly, there's not a whole lot of food in this. Roadside Picnic is a science fiction book that was written by, these guys, whose names I can't pronounce, and is about a very slow and very strange alien invasion. Basically, some alien spacecraft landed somewhere in the Ukraine, left a bunch of garbage, and then went away. And now the whole area is this swampy, garbage-strewn mess full of ruins and different warring factions and mercenaries. It's basically modern-day Ukraine. Although the book does go out of its way to say that it's not necessarily Ukraine, but it's totally Ukraine. I mean, it's Ukraine. It's Ukraine. Ukraine or Estonia. One of the old Soviet bloc countries. Also, it never specifically talks about what year it's supposed to be taking place in. It just says 19-something. But you can sort of get through context clues that it's taking place roughly 1978, 1984. The 80s, an awesome decade. If you were American, our main protagonist is what's called a stalker. Yes, by the way, this is the same book that inspired both the movie and the video game. His job is to go out into the zone and collect artifacts. Just look the video game again. It's basically the video game, except honestly, I think the book is better than the video game. There's not a lot of action in the book, not a whole lot of shooting, but what it lacks in action, it makes up for in atmosphere, because this audiobook is very atmospheric. And it's depressing, too. I mean, it's seriously depressing. Roadside Picnic really takes the science fiction and sort of pushes it in the back way and focuses more on human suffering. The main character suffers, his wife suffers, his kid suffers, his friends die, his boss suffers, the people he doesn't like suffer. Everyone's just tired and hungry and broke and just clutching their shitty little guns and just hoping for a fucking payday. All the while knowing that ultimately they're gonna wind up being thrown around in the air until their fucking limbs get ripped off. There is so much death in this book. And I don't mean like people dying, there's just this sense of death. The guy who they chose to narrate this book, there's just something about him that just bleeds this sort of 1950s grizzled, tired, depressed old man feel from him. I don't know how else to describe it. Actually, I can. You know those old 1950s sci-fi movies where the main hero is like some guy who smokes a cigarette all the time and ends up fighting off the monster with like, I don't know, a knife? Well, imagine that guy, except he never got to fight the monster, and he just stayed smoking cigarettes. And you've got our main character. He hates his life, he hates his job, he hates himself. Every action he's ever taken has just been one self-destructive measure after another. I think he actually loses everything about halfway through the book, twice. There's a lot of Roadside Picnic that commentates on life in the border regions of the Soviet Union. You're under constant threat of military action, there's enemies everywhere, and you don't necessarily know who to trust or even if you're gonna eat tomorrow. Again, the zone and the sci-fi in this book are completely separate entities. A Roadside Picnic asks us to come to terms with change. The main character's life gets worse as the world changes around him, and he refuses to. Until eventually the book ends where he's... Oh, spoiler. Spoiler! Pause the video, skip to like 30 seconds ahead. Just pause, spoiler, spoiler. The book ends with the main character facing down a fucking anomaly-spawned whirlwind, literally just saying, God damn it, everything fucking sucks, my life sucks, this sucks, Nothing ever works. I hate everything. You're going to hell. Period. So would I recommend this book? Oh, hell yes. Like I said before, this book has inspired a lot of stuff. The most obvious derivatives being the Tarkovsky film and the Shadow of Chernobyl video game series. But you can see inspiration from this book in all kinds of things. I was getting a really heavy Half-Life vibe from some of the descriptions of the zone. And you can bet your ass Dishonored took a lot from this. I want to say a lot of Cabin in the Woods movies too, but I can't read Sam Raimi's mind anymore. Anyway, it's an audiobook you should definitely check out if you just want to be miserable for 7 hours? But the good kind of misery, the thinking man's misery. And hey, if you want to support this channel, why not check me out on Patreon? Don't forget to leave a comment in the comments below and hit that bell icon, otherwise YouTube will eat your face. And remember, eventually we all die in the zone. Have fun!